I'm Brittany, this is my co-host Louie, and welcome to Gaywatch, where we watch gay things. Today is Season 2, Episode 4 of Interview with the Vampire. This is the midpoint. This is where some serious, developments could happen. Things could go down. Lestat could pop up in some kind of timeline somewhere, actually, and not in a flashback. Who knows, right? And a friend of mine recently got me a 6-pack of Mike's Hard Lemonade. And given what I am sitting down to do today, and given what the rest of this season could very well look like if my suspicions are correct, I know what I'm using the Mike's Hard Lemonade for. So, we're gonna hit play, and we're gonna find out. Oh!
How did she like being infantilized?
Thank you, Malloy!
She carried her water uphill like a seasoned player.
One of those times when they don't actually agree on something interesting. They've been trying to play the really solid front up until this point.
Little birdie Lou's caught in a trap, but she's flapping her wings.
Oh, I hope that wasn't a metaphor.
How did the coven take it?
Mostly with good grace.
I hate this song.
We're starting to divide. Oh, everybody be quiet. Santiago's here.
Fuck off! 3 minutes.
You know, that fan doesn't surprise me, actually.
The 500th performance of My Baby Love.
Carol, costume designer Carol, we are 5 minutes into this episode, roughly? And I already need to have words with you, Carol.
You'll no longer remove your costume. You'll sleep in it, rehearse in it, feed in it, hunt in it.
Are you companions?
Yes.
No.
Couldn't help but notice that, you know, in the present day, they're giving two different answers. And in the past, at least at this point in time, they were giving two different answers.
A romance.
Works for me. Companion. Works.
This is a shot of
It's not the
cinema.
word I would use. This is great. What we got is great.
God, how do you about it?
And that's good. It's easy.
And it makes total sense why Louis would want that.
You don't understand. I love you.
Oh, Louis, your psyche
I love you.
has leapt out.
Until then, you only have Daniel Malloy.
He was my biographer.
What was that? What was that insert? What was that face of Armand?
I wouldn't say it was his hand, but it was not his hand.
Oh, Armand has opinions.
No.
Oh, sorry.
Wait. He's totally imposing memories on Malloy, but like wasn't that specific memory? He's like, you told the girl you'd only do her if something. Wasn't that something like he's already told us about, Malloy? Way back when somewhere? I wish I had an actual memory. But no, that's totally, I mean, that's 1000%. He has implanted memories. He has imposed memories over actual events. This sets exactly the precedent that I was thinking about, but like didn't want to be true. I don't like coming back here again. That makes me think it's gonna come back with a vengeance at some point. Oh, you're fabulous. You're amazing. You're immaculate. I'm so in love with you.
Moved me.
I love him about as much as I can't trust him. And that's very conflicting for me. Can we get a shout out to the fucking music as well? I believe I've given them a shout out more than once on this. But like the authenticity of the soundtrack for the period stuff in particular is simply amazing. I cannot believe how many obscenely talented people, from the music to fucking Carol costuming to everybody else, to the lighting, they have assembled such an incredible team of artists and creatives and professionals. It's incredible.
Anything else you want to say, buffoon? I couldn't hear you from the other, but you got my attention. Take your time. Come on.
You all right?
Okay, kind of a lot happened there. What do you mean Armand can essentially stop time? Santiago's officially not a Louis fan.
It's not mine. That's Fred Stein.
What?
You don't need to. If she had a paper bag over her head, she agreed and made it.
This is embarrassing. I don't want you thinking I was trying to pass them off as mine.
So then where are his... What do you mean? Then where are his pictures? What are his pictures? Why would Armand do that? What's in those? And then whatever the fuck is going on with Milo. I've got too much going on, but I don't actually know enough.
Been at it a few years.
It's one man's opinion.
You take them at night when I...
They just keep like springing Lestat on me just so calmly, like it's nothing. They can't keep doing that. That's not good for my entire being.
Tell me one thing wrong about this photo.
Well, for one thing, I'm not in it.
Please.
That was the most Lestat answer that he has ever given to anything ever.
TB killed my family. All of them. Dead.
Shit!
Oh my...
First of all, I love her. Second of all, I love that Claudia is like befriending a human. I don't think we've literally seen her do that ever since, you know, she tried to be in love with that one boy and it didn't go great. But it's very Louis of her to make this friendship, which is funny because Louis draws the boundary that he would never make an actual friendship with a human, but he loves humanity so much that that's how it has rubbed off on Claudia.
Rest.
Just the potential for abusing that.
One night and follow vintage Leoncourt.
I do not enjoy using
Hello, they keep doing it.
I treated her as a member of my coven.
I don't like you parading her around.
That
in
might be the
baby
problem.
doll dress either.
I am not Lestat, Louis.
Okay.
In fact, the door...
This is going to be a very nerdy little bit of just film composition thing right here. But ultimately, it's also like very simple. It's one of those things that once you notice, you never unnotice. So if you don't want something like that, skip ahead a little bit into the video until you see the episode playing again. This is when they all look like they're standing in a line, right? And ostensibly in this frame, they are standing in a line. But angles from the side on that, like the one in the establishing shot of this scene, they're obviously not standing in a clear line because then you wouldn't be able to see Louis or Lestat standing behind Armand very clearly. And so in order to get everybody in frame, you have to stagger them like that. And that's also true for the up-close shot that's between those two. They had them staggered again. Extremely common, very basic technique that once I found out about it, I could never unsee it because they're not actually in a line, but it tricks your eye into believing that while also getting all of the characters nicely placed in view of the camera at the same time.
I served him with all my heart,
Ooh.
basked in his mercy,
Uh-huh.
his worshipful mercy.
Uh-huh. Wow. Yet again, not that Armand doesn't look at Louis with a certain amount of feeling there, because obviously he does. But this is now the second time that I have seen Armand either look at or remember someone in a much more compelling, transfixed way than he has ever looked at Louis. Him being lost in talking about Marius, he had a look on his face that he had never given Louis. And then in that previous episode, in that one scene where he was looking down at Lestat while Lestat was performing, he was transfixed, albeit in a different way. But he was like so transfixed, and he has not gotten to that level while looking at Louis yet. To me, I could be wrong. I could be making something out of nothing, but that's my impression. Also, it was never that Armand was a full-on villain that's just villainous, right? That's the great thing about this show. They paint extremely complex portraits of people, because, you know, even though these are vampires, we're talking about people. They have an extreme amount of nuance and complexity to the principal players. So it was never about Armand just only being an asshole, or he's only a manipulative what have you. He's only all of the bad things about him, and he's only in all the ways that he has hurt Louis that we don't even know about yet, potentially. And it is very interesting to get what I think is either one of the biggest moments or maybe the biggest moment so far of potentially peeking under the hood of Armand, so to speak. Similarly so, like in season 1, when we got to watch Lestat recount how he was made and his backstory and all of that and the trauma that he endured. It's one of the core strengths of this show. So even though I am obviously suspicious as hell of Armand, and I don't trust him as far as I could throw him, that doesn't mean that I think he's just a two-dimensional just villain, right? I appreciate the depth that they're giving him as well. It's just that I don't have, and like nobody in the show even has, the full picture yet. So I'm erring on the side of caution a lot of times because I just don't trust him. But I appreciate the 3 dimensions and the places that they seem to be going with somebody like him. You can write essays about all these characters, and Armand is not accepted.
Most in my position would treat you no better than you treated your maker. Let us agree. Going forward. Too old to play Hamlet. Too young to play Polonius.
That was a really clever Hamlet reference, too. He specifically referenced Hamlet because there's a part in Hamlet where Hamlet is, like, waiting in the wings and eavesdropping, which is clearly what Santiago was doing right then. That's for all the Shakespeare fans out there. Hi, his hair's up.
It was a waste of time. Your dalliance with that manipulative gremlin. Well, what is vampire life but poor decisions stacked next to better ones?
Louis!
Speaking of
What is life?
Louis!
No, it doesn't sound like him.
Doesn't sound like it.
Ooh.
Oh, I forgot. Love makes you stupid. Makes you fickle and weak and blind. You and him. Him and you. You and fucking him.
the wilderness that is our daughter? You're gonna break it off with him, aren't you?
He should.
Yeah.
Oh, he said with no confidence whatsoever.
It had to happen.
No, you're not.
Right?
That's what you wanted me to say.
Uh-huh. I was
Then you say
just
what I
about
want
to
you to say
comment
then.
about the absolutely rosy-colored version of Lestat that Louis has in his head.
Why this suit?
It's my favorite on you.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, God.
You might not know this, but I had the tailor inscribe your initials on the back side of the ticket pocket. Right here. So your name would always click.
Follow that!
You summoned me. Everyone doing what they want when they want.
Everyone but you.
Yeah, it's almost like trying to exert extreme control doesn't last forever. Carol? Carol, come here, Carol. You can't put him in this hat, Carol. Why? You're out for blood, Carol.
Yes, maître.
This music playing over that, though.
You made me look foolish.
You just assume it was me.
Well, it wasn't me.
I mean...
You sure about that?
Don't be afraid. Just start the tape.
You weren't always.
Things got a little heated.
With a boy. Things got heated with a boy. I was at home picking...
What do you mean? What do you mean? What that was the most abrupt cutoff to an episode of anything I've ever seen in my entire life. What the fuck do you mean? Also, we're going back to the first interview? I mean, I guess of course we were gonna go back to the first interview, but then what the fuck happened? Also, the first interview? Oh. Did he attack Malloy? There's just so many fucking questions. There's just all the questions in the goddamn universe. And I want to know all of them. Okay, so this show should be studied for a lot of reasons. One of which being the doling out of a mystery. The absolutely pitch perfect way that they give you a little information. They give you the tiniest, weirdest, most random piece of the puzzle that your brain itches to, red string and make into the greater picture, but you fucking can't because it's been constructed in such a way that this carries some possibilities, but it's impossible to know for certain unless you know what went on over here. And once you find out what's going on over here, that asks new questions about what's going on over here. It's the suspense and the fucking mystery for me. That's absolutely ridiculous. So, as much as I want to, theorize, I can't even really form a solid theory because I'm also trying to fill in gaps just from what I know from the 1994 film and how that could possibly either relate to or have things in common with whatever the fuck they're doing here. I gotta know. And this is exactly why it is so perfect for this show to be on a network and doled out a fucking one episode at a time. No matter where this was, if this had been on Netflix or wherever this was, it would have had to have been one episode at a time and not just a full dump. That is baked into the premise of this. This is an excellent example of a show that, by definition, needs to be doled out week to week instead of all at once. And there are plenty of shows that need to be just dumped all at once for a variety of other reasons. But this is such a good argument for why there needs to be both. Why it needs to depend on the project, and not, you can't just paint all shows, all films, or whatever with the same approach. You can't do it. You're going to do a disservice to many things in the process. So I love that this is being treated properly. It just lends itself to all of the other excellence that's going on. I'm losing my fucking mind. I've got to go. I've got to go. That's it for episode 4 of season 2 of Interview with the Vampire. I'll be here next week for episode 5 as we officially head into the second part of this season. And in the meantime, please remember to take care of yourself.